welcome Hoosier Nation to a special edition of the Hoosier Sound. I'm your host, Noah Freeman, and I'm delighted to present you with this new podcast. I'm here with Matt Lukens, and we're here to give you the scoop of some IU sports. We are an IU-centered podcast that focuses on IU sports such as basketball, football, and more from the point of view as a student or a young adult. To end each show, we will also give our view on hot takes from around the world of sports. Today, we bring you another edition of a series called The Special Segment. Sometimes there's going to be news that will just not fit into our normal weekly show. In these editions, we will go into detail on specific topics in the world of sports. But speaking of our weekly show, we'll be going live every Tuesday evening, but if you miss us live, you can subscribe to various networks so you can listen on your own time. We are now in iTunes or Apple Podcast, Google Play, Stitcher, and our live stream will be posted on our YouTube page after each recording. All you got to do is search for The Hoosier Sound wherever you listen to podcasts and just hit subscribe. The videos will then pop up for you when they are published. It's really simple, really easy, and it would mean a lot to us if you guys just hit that subscribe button. Give us a comment below or contact us through our website with what network you would like us to publish our podcasts on. Social media is also big for us, and we post updates for you guys in Facebook and Twitter. Make sure you give us a like and a follow, as well as subscribe in our YouTube account. All the information is in the description below. Lastly, you can check out our website, thehoosiersound.wordpress.com, to find out all of our information in one place. All right, it's time for some sports talk. On this episode, Matt and I are here, and I will admit I completely stole this idea from another podcast, but I thought this was such a neat idea. Matt and I are here, and we're going to go game by game of the entire Hoosier basketball schedule and give you our predictions on if the Hoosiers are going to win or lose. And basically, it's just we'll give you a record like parts of the way through, and by the end of it, and we'll just see where this season takes us, basically.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. So, and we're recording this on the evening of Thursday, November 9th. So for all of you that are going to listen to this after some of the games have been played, we want to tell you that our predictions are before any of the games that happen. But tomorrow,
Don't make too much fun of us for.
Oh my God! How did you get that game? You're so stupid.
This is way before the season. We know nothing. So,
but for tomorrow, we got the Hoosiers have a home game at 7 p.m. against Indiana State. Matt, are the Hoosiers going to start out 1-0 or 0-1?
yes, we're going to chop down the Sycamores on our first game. I think it should be a pretty easy victory. Though. They have is it the Allen brothers? They have one of the brothers of the
Fort Wayne
person that absolutely gave us fits in the Fort Wayne game last year. So I'm slightly nervous about him, but other than that, I think we're gonna win by at least 15 points. I think.
Yeah, double digits. I'd agree. I don't think there obviously with some of these cupcake games, we're not going to be able to get into too much detail, but Indiana State they're not a terrible team, but they're not their best self by any means from some of their normal years. It's not going to be much of a contest. It'll be probably close at the beginning, like these exhibitions of games have gone, but then in the second half, I think the Hoosiers are going to pull away. So, 1-0.
Yeah, on that note, though, I really wish that they keep this series up, like, permanently. Like, Kentucky, Indiana State, Notre Dame, we should always play.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, I like playing Indiana State, a close school to Bloomington.
Yeah.
Sunday, November 12th, another home game at 8 p.m. against Howard. Go for it, Matt.
I think they're in the very late 200s in KenPom. So I think we should handle them pretty well. I'd be worried if this was a close game for more than about 3/4 away through the first half.
Yeah, I'd agree. This is one of the lower. Archie is going to start scheduling better non-conference schedules, but this is still one of the lower end of the team.
It's a Tom Crean style opponent.
Yeah, so I think that's another easy victory. Then we go on to Wednesday, November 15th, we got an away game against Seton Hall, basically our first true test for this Archie Miller team. Where do you have the Hoosiers against Seton Hall, at Seton Hall?
Well, it's nothing like starting out our first road game against probably a Sweet 16 team.
Oh yeah, they're ranked right now, aren't they?
They're 21 right now, but I think they're going to be better. They have some good freshmen coming in. I think Angel Delgado, their center is nationally underrated. So,
oh yeah, no, he's one of the top, not just the top big men in the country. He's one of the top players in the entire country.
Yeah, I think he could be running it for Player of the Year.
Oh yeah,
because he's going to tear up his conference.
That's how good he is.
In the Big East. So I have us losing to them. I think we'll keep it close for most of the game, but because it's away and it's a first away game and it happens against a ranked team, and it obviously has a lot more, I wouldn't say talent, but a lot more chemistry. I think they're going to pull through, and I think we're going to lose our first game of the season.
Yeah, I think the away factor has a lot to do with it, especially still. This is a very new Archie Miller team, and I just think going on the road at such an early point in the season, literally that's next week, guys. That's 6 days away, next Wednesday, that this team has only been together for a couple months. I don't think going on the road in the NCAA is pretty hard. So I also have this as a loss.
If we win that game, I'm going to be the happiest person on earth, because that makes the Duke matchup that much better, because I don't see as well. Well, you'll see. But
yeah. If they win, I think all of our predictions, I would have to redo this show for our predictions.
Yes.
With how well
with a win, yes.
With how well they could possibly do if they won.
Next Thursday, we might have to have another special segment. So we'll see.
Let's cross our fingers. But then Sunday, November 19th, we got a home game at 6 against the University of South Florida.
As a Floridian and a person who knows a lot about college basketball, if this was UCF, I'd be somewhat scared, but this is USF. I think they might be the second worst team we have on our schedule. And we play Howard.
They seem like a big team because USF is not a small school by any means. But
their basketball program historically has been...
Yeah, it's not. Especially this year, too.
I'd be more worried to play North Florida than to play them. So
yeah, it looks like Matt has a win. I also have a win. Also, for all of you fans, Matt and I did not compare notes beforehand, so we both just made our own records and predictions, and we're going to see how they basically turn out.
He blacked his out. I had no idea what he put. So
moving on. So right now, both of us are sitting at 3-1 with the same wins and losses against the same teams.
Yeah.
Going to another Wednesday game, and I like to give you guys the day of the week because if you notice this year, a lot of the days of the week are very different than normal. We got a lot of Monday games, Friday games. It's all very weird, and you never know. It could actually affect some of the outcome of the games. Obviously, we'll never know if it does, but it's just interesting to throw it in there. But Wednesday, November 22nd, home game against Arkansas State at 7.
It's Wednesday, my dudes. So it's Wednesday. So we're going to win that.
Wednesday.
Yes, we're going to win that one.
Wednesday. We should actually go back after all this and see if we're going to win every game on Wednesday.
No, we're not.
We're almost there. Arkansas State win, no contest, like an exhibition game. I think that's about it. That's all we can say. So let's go on to Friday the 24th, another home game against Eastern Michigan at 4:30. So we're starting to climb up in the non-conference rankings just a little bit.
So if we struggle against some of the smaller teams, I think we might end up losing this one to Eastern Michigan. So this is like in football, they have trap games.
Oh yeah.
This is 100% a trap game. Because if you know anything about IU basketball, the 29th is obviously a big game at home on a Wednesday. The next one coming up. But Eastern Michigan's a tough team. They play tough. I know historically they've been a tournament team. A lot of time as a lower seed. So I wouldn't be surprised if we lose this one, but I believe in us. I think we win this one pretty easily. So
Yeah, I agree. I could see it as a possible trap game, but I don't think it's going to stop this team. I also have it as a win. So now we're getting into the big game itself. Wednesday, November 29th. If you haven't already marked your calendars, I really hope you have. We got a home game at 9:30 p.m. Got a really late start against Duke, which there's going to be something wrong with Duke if they're not number one by the end of it. They start out as number one in the preseason, and there's no reason for them that they're going to lose before they get to us. So There's a very, very, very good possibility that we will be facing the number one team when Duke comes to Simon Scott Assembly Hall.
Well, we're going to face them, and we're going to face Michigan State. Duke's special this year. Duke might have assembled the best college basketball talent-wise, better than any Kentucky team I've seen. Maybe just as good as the John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins year. But Gary Trent Jr., obviously Marvin Bagley, Trayvon Duvall, Wendell Carter, they have 5 stars and 4-star recruits who would be starters here coming off their bench. Might not even be playing this year. They have Grayson Allen coming back. They have leaders. They have experienced people all over the place. This is going to be the toughest team to play all year. We're probably going to, for the second year in a row, play the national title winner at home. And I think the result's going to go different this year. I think we're going to lose. I don't think we're obviously not as good as we were last year, and talent-wise, last year we still had OG, and we still had that gusto, and that's why we beat UNC at home. I think it'll be closer than some of the experts think, but I see us losing this one, sadly.
Yeah, and Duke actually, they will play Michigan State, which is the second-ranked team in the country. Obviously, there's a great chance that they will actually lose that game. If they do lose, I don't think, since it's Michigan State, I don't think they fall farther than 2, literally, because they're maybe 3. There's some of the 2, but top 2 teams in the nation. But regardless, it's going to be a top 5, if not top 3 opponent that we're going to face against Duke. And Matt had a lot of really good points. Obviously, IU was able to show up last year against UNC. The crowd, of course, is going to show up.
Absolutely. It's Duke.
There's no doubt that the crowd is not going to be there. And that's a huge factor, honestly, for the Hoosiers. And I really want to, especially with an OK Hoosier team beating UNC last year, the new era of Archie Miller, everyone wanting to get that big win. I really wanted to put the win column, like a W in that win column after the Duke game, but I also don't think that they're going to be able to do it. I think it'll be a very close game, to be honest. I think the first half is going to be really close, and I think somewhere in the second half, Duke's just going to pull away, and the Hoosiers are not good enough together yet to come back into it, and I think that's going to be something that ends up making them lose to Duke. So sadly, I really wanted to have another W, but I think they are going to lose against Duke. So we'll move on to Big Ten play in December.
Yep.
Early December, like December 2nd. We're going. We got to go on the road to Michigan.
Jim Dwayne.
Yeah, we got to go on the road to, which we'll actually have to talk about that in another segment.
Yes.
But Saturday, December 2nd, we got an away game against Michigan. So we got to go to Ann Arbor and play at a 12:30 game, which will be interesting for the teams that they have such an early tip-off time, and they still got to get there. But, Matt, how do you think our very first Big Ten game will go for Archie Miller?
Well, here's the thing with Michigan basketball. Michigan basketball is only good if they have an experienced point guard. And this year, they do not have an experienced point guard. So I think that they are extremely overrated this year. I think Wagner's good, don't get me wrong, and they have a couple good wings on their roster. But I think people aren't realizing how much the point guard means in the system at Michigan. And this is a brand new point guard coming in. I think he's a transfer starting. So I feel like it's going to take him some time to get used to playing actually like legit Power 5 Division I basketball. So I think we steal a win in Michigan just because of the early season struggles.
I'm going to have to go the other way. I really think this home and away stuff for the Hoosiers at the beginning of the year is going to really be a factor. I think some of these away games are going to be really hard that this team is not into a rhythm per se. They haven't had this, like we've been saying, they haven't had this coach for a long time. I don't think they're into much of a groove to be able to go on the road early and play I will agree with Matt that they're a little overrated, but they're still a good team. They're still a decent team, and I still think they're good enough to handle their business at Michigan, especially coming off of last year's win against the Hoosiers, both at home and away.
Yeah.
It's a little embarrassing. So I have that as a loss. We're going to move on to Monday, December 4th. We got our first home game in the Big Ten against Iowa at 8 p.m.
Woo, home game, Big Ten. Win. That's what I have to say.
Against Iowa? Not a bad Iowa team either.
No, but it's home. First game back to Assembly Hall. Iowa's not going to be anywhere close to being used to that by then. So
no, I don't think so. Yeah, because especially being that first Big Ten game in Simon Scott Assembly Hall coming off of Duke, I still think the fans will show up. And Iowa's not.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're the best team that Iowa plays.
I would think so. I'm not sure who their very first Big Ten opponent is, but yeah, I think a lot of this home and away stuff is. They got Virginia Tech, which Virginia Tech could be a tournament team this year.
No, I think Virginia Tech's going to be better in Virginia this year, but we're top two of the best teams they've played so far, and we've already played Duke, we've already played Michigan, so
even if both of those are losses, like I predicted, it's still experience, which I think coming home, coming off of, for me at least, coming off of 2 losses in a row. I think the Hoosiers are going to bounce back and beat Iowa. That's where I think it's going to be at. So right now we got Matt is 7-2 with a perfect Big Ten record at 2-0. I got us at 6-3 as an overall record with a 1-1 in Big Ten play. Before we go on, a lot of these predictions. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more losses than we all might want to realistically see, especially for a first-year team. We just want to see Archie run the table. But again, we got to temper our expectations. Just because Archie loses 10, 15, even if he loses 20 games this year, that's not going to mean anything going into the future. He's got recruits coming in. We actually get to await the Darius Garland decision. Actually, technically, at any minute, he said that within the past few days and within the next couple days, he could potentially announce it. But even if it seems like there are a lot of losses in the end, don't lose hope for Archie Miller. Basically, he's going to be fine, but it's still going to be a great season. So we are going to move on and not talk about the outside factors for this team, but we're just going to go into talking about our Saturday, December 9th game against Louisville at 2 p.m. away. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff going around about Louisville. We had our very first special segment on the NCAA sanctions, so if you haven't checked that out, check that out. But going into Louisville, Matt, where are we going to stand?
Okay, so I think we give Louisville a game in Louisville, but this all depends on if Brian Bowen plays. I feel like Brian Bowen makes this team a top 4 team in the nation. If he doesn't play, they're
even without a coach, basically.
Even without a coach, yes. This team has way too much talent not to do. But if they don't have him, I think they're a top 15 team, and I think we play them a lot closer if he's not on the floor, just because he's an athletic wing that can shoot and spread the floor. So I think we lose because I think he will be playing. But if he isn't playing, I wouldn't be surprised.
As of now, he's going to play.
Yes, as of now. Well, things can change because obviously information's still there. But as of today's date, loss at Louisville.
And as of today, right now, all the legal stuff with Brian Bowen, it's looking positive for him.
Yes.
They're putting all of it on his father at the moment, basically, and that they're saying, his lawyer is saying that he didn't know anything about it. Whatever you want to think, that's what is going on in the legal system. But I do think Brian Bowen, sadly, is going to play. And I do think that Hoosiers going into Louisville wanting to play a top-ranked team that they haven't been playing well recently in the last few years. They really haven't played Louisville very well.
No.
I do think they're going to have a loss. Like Matt said, they've just got crazy amounts of talent. They've, even with Rick Pitino before all this, they were a legit national championship contender team this year. They were Louisville's obviously historically under Rick Pitino very good, but this was one of his strongest teams, basically.
This might have been his best team.
Literally might have been his best team. But so even with a not great coach, obviously compared to Rick Pitino, I still think that's going to be a loss. So we're going to go into our only neutral site in the regular season. Our only neutral site against Notre Dame at in Indianapolis, Saturday the 16th at 2:30.
I see us winning this game just because is Bonzie Colson still at Notre Dame? Right?
I don't remember.
Is he? If he's still somehow there, it's going to be a very close, tough game. But I think the Hoosier faithful travel very well, and
especially in Indy.
Especially in Indy, absolutely. Irish fans travel well too, but
they do. Yeah.
There's more Indiana basketball hype. I feel like it's going to be kind of home court advantage, and hopefully this year we win.
Yeah. Obviously, Notre Dame's a really good team right now. Right now, obviously, they're one of 4 teams that are ranked both in college and football, which is a little interesting, little tidbit. Yeah. But they are a good team. But IU's got 4 really tough non-conference schedule teams. I really don't think the Hoosiers are going to go 0-4 in those non-conference teams, and I think the Hoosiers have the best chance at winning Notre Dame. Now, that's not to say that just because I think they're not going to lose all 4, that's just making this Notre Dame game a win. They've actually, the last couple of years, which historically they actually don't play very well in Indy when they go there, but the last couple of years they have turned it around. They've played better. 2 years ago when we played Notre Dame in the Crossroads Classic, we still came back to win. I think this team wants to get a decent win before going into the rest of Big Ten play. I do think they're going to win. So we'll go into a few more cupcake games before the rest of Big Ten plays, which starting out the Monday, December 18th, home game against Fort Wayne at 8.
I hope we beat them by 80. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. I don't think, obviously, it's last year's game is going to be on every single person's mind, even Archie Miller and the staff that wasn't there last year. I don't think they look. I think they honestly, even out of these all big non-conference games, I think this is going to be like the 5th highest game that they look at, basically after last year. So
I would hope so.
I would hope so too. Yeah. So I got it as another win. Ugh, excuse me. Thursday, December 21st, home against Tennessee Tech, 8 p.m.
If I haven't heard of them, they're a win.
Yeah, basically. I mean, you would think every state has some sort of, like, normal school and then a tech school, basically. Like,
yeah, but
I've never heard of Tennessee Tech,
Tennessee Tech, so.
I think that's pretty self-explanatory, too, yeah. I got another win, not Texas Tech, which that would be a little different. Friday, 12/29, home game at 8 against Youngstown State.
This isn't football, so win.
I would say Youngstown State's actually a really decent football team.
Yes.
But it's not football. We're in basketball. They're a very small school. I got another win. So before we get into January with the rest of our Big Ten play, we've got Matt sitting at a nice 11-3 for the first half of the season, basically.
Oh yeah,
and 2-0 in the Big Ten. I'm just behind him with that one loss against Michigan at 10-4 overall with a 1-1 Big Ten record. So let's get into the rest of basically the entire season. Everything always obviously builds up to Big Ten play. So Tuesday, January 2nd, away, 7 p.m. against Wisconsin.
all I have to say for this one is we haven't won in Wisconsin in like 20-something years.
Yeah.
And I don't see it changing with the talent that Wisconsin has and the talent that we don't have. So, loss.
Yeah. Like Matt said, it's away at Wisconsin. No matter how good the Hoosiers are, they don't play very well in Wisconsin. They don't play very well in Madison. I don't know what it is. Like, both in football and basketball, I don't know what it is. And Wisconsin's a good team. They're going to be battling for a top 5 spot, basically, in the Big Ten. So I got it as a loss, too.
Maybe we should play a jump around in Assembly Hall to get them used to.
Yeah, that's true. Saturday, the 6th of January, away game at 5:15 against Minnesota.
Yeah, 5:15 doesn't help. It's away. And it's a Minnesota team that I think is fantastic. And I think can actually challenge for the second spot in the Big Ten. And maybe even the first spot if Michigan State isn't up to what we think they're going to be. But yeah, I got a loss. They're going to kick our butts.
Yeah, we go into the barn. I don't think that's always been a tough place as well to play. I know a lot of Hoosier fans do not like going to Minnesota to play, and there's a good reason for it. A back-to-back away game, basically, to another top 5, maybe even top 3, honestly. Big Ten team. Again,
yeah.
All these early away games are not good for the Hoosiers, so I have it as a loss as well. So then we get a home game Tuesday the 9th, home, 6:30, Penn State.
All I have to say is that Penn State's a football school. So, win.
Yeah, Penn State is... I think they're a little overrated for how much talk they've gotten this year. They are 100% much better than they have been recently. 100%. But
well, the reason they're getting so much talk is they have been awful. Like Rutgers bad the last 3 or 4, 5, 6 years. So the fact that they can even put out a somewhat winning team, I think deserves some praise.
Yeah. Actually, one of the players on their team was from my high school area on Penn State, which is interesting. So I always like seeing Penn State and seeing him play. But I think a home game after, especially coming off of 2 losses for both Matt and I, away games, I don't think, obviously the past couple of years, Penn State's been one of those trap games that IU has won, but won very closely. I don't think it's a trap game. I think they take care of their business for the beginning of Big Ten play at Simon Scott Assembly Hall with the students, basically, or almost coming back with the students.
Yeah.
Next, Sunday, January 14th, home, either at 1:30 or 4:30 against Northwestern.
Sadly, Northwestern basketball is actually good, which didn't used to be the case, but now is. Ever. But now is. They're going to be too much for us to handle, even though it's at home. I was really close to putting a W here. But they're going to be too much for us to handle. They have so much experience. They went to the tournament last year. I don't think they didn't lose anybody. I don't think. And they're starting 5. No one significant. I think they got a couple good recruits. So, loss. Sorry.
I'm going to go the opposite way. I think the Hoosiers are still playing well, right, coming off of a win against Penn State. Northwestern, obviously they've played well against Northwestern because Northwestern's never been very good. But I don't think it lets them get past the Hoosiers. I think this is going to be one of the better wins of the season. I would not be surprised at all if they lost, but I think this is going to be one of their resume wins, basically, and it really helps that it's home. It would completely change it if it was away, but the students being back for Northwestern, I think that's going to give us a win. Let's go to Friday the 19th away at Michigan State for 7 p.m.
So it's bad enough that we have to play Michigan State twice this year. Playing them twice means we need to play them at least once away. The Izzone, crazy atmosphere. That'll definitely be the toughest test away that we have all year.
Or just almost period. And it could be, depending on how good
the
Duke is.
Duke game's the best game that we play. But Michigan State's a very, very close second. So I think we lose by like 20.
Yeah. And also, IU's never played well at Michigan State ever, even when Michigan State isn't great, basically.
Well, Michigan State is one of those places that they have an incredible home court advantage.
Yeah. Just like Simon Scott Assembly Hall. Yeah, I think, honestly, I think as easy as it was to put some of those cupcake games as wins, I think it's going to be really easy to put in another early-ish away game against top 2 team in the nation, potentially, as a loss. Then we move on to Monday, January 22nd, home against Maryland at 7.
I think we actually win this game because Melo Trimble isn't on the floor, which is nice for once. Yes, Maryland is a very talented team, but I feel like with the fans at home coming off of a loss at Michigan State, they're going to be a little pumped up. So I think we're going to win next game.
I'm going to go the other way. I think IU has not played Maryland very well in recent years, even if IU's been good and Maryland hasn't. I think it's going to be one of those quote-unquote trap games. I don't think Maryland is that bad for it to be necessarily a trap game, but I think Maryland comes in. They have a level head. They're still a very good, historically good basketball program. I think they're going to come in with a level head. I think some of the good and win streaks that the Hoosiers have been going on, at least for me recently, are going to die down just a little bit because I don't think the Hoosiers are going to go undefeated at Simon Scott Assembly Hall, and I think they're just going to drop one against Maryland, basically. We'll go to Wednesday, January 24th. We got Illinois away at 9 p.m.
Illinois might be the second worst team in the Big Ten, which is saying something because Rutgers and Nebraska are in the Big Ten. And I think they're the worst, the second worst. So, I have us winning by a lot.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty self-explanatory game, even away. IU has also played very well in recent years against Illinois.
Well, except for the buzzer beater against the number 1 ranked Hoosiers, but we'll forget about that one.
Yeah, that's usually the Hoosiers play very well in Illinois, whether it's in Illinois or in Bloomington. Doesn't matter. I also have it as a win. So let's move to one of the biggest games of the year for Hoosiers fans. Sunday, the 28th, we got home at 3:30 against Purdue.
Sadly, I have us losing. I feel like Purdue's a very good basketball team this year, even though they did lose Swanigan. And I just feel like that they're going to be fired up just as much as we are, even though they're playing here. I feel like the talent that they have wins over the talent that we have. So,
I think being a rivalry, obviously this is going to be one of the biggest games for the Hoosiers, especially the fans itself, just because it's Purdue. I don't think some of the Purdue's going to be a very good team. They lost Swanigan, but they haven't lost much after him, and they've still got a good and decent team in place. I think the Boilermakers are going to end up being better than the Hoosiers by the end of it, but I don't think that's going to let them get past us on a weekend game, no less with the students in town, and I don't think Purdue's going to be able to get by us. So I have it as a win. We're going to go at Tuesday, January 30th. We got another away game at 7 p.m. against Ohio State.
Win. Bottom 5 program in the Big Ten right now. Chris Holtman's a great coach, but I don't think even as good of a coach as he is.
He just came in too late just because the timing was
poorly.
No,
there's nothing he can do about this. It's going to be a win.
Yeah, it's going to take Ohio State. Obviously, they have capabilities of being a good and historically good basketball program. They got a lot of good players that come out of there, but I don't think now or in the next year or two that they're going to be able to really compete against anyone in the Big Ten, really, just maybe some of those bottom feeder teams. It's going to take Chris Holtman just a little bit to basically get Ohio State back up to where they like to be. So I have it as a win as well. After January, we're going into February, and our records right now are dead equal between Matt and I. Matt is sitting at 15-8 with an overall record and 6-5 in the Big Ten, and that's also what I have. So let's go into another game against Michigan State, Saturday, February 3rd. Home game this time, at least, either 6 or 8 p.m. But we got Michigan State come to Simon Scott Assembly Hall.
With our record, it's going to be a 6 o'clock game, and Michigan State's going to beat us by 20. They're just that much better than us. Unless they have some chemistry issues going into the year, which I didn't see any when I was there watching them play, then they're going to beat us by at least 20 at home. They're that good this year. They're obviously a Final Four team, and we're a barely bubble team.
Yeah, I think Michigan State, obviously, I really do think that IU can beat Duke this year. I still have it, and I'm going to go on the record and say that it's a loss, but I do think IU can beat Duke this year in Simon Scott Assembly Hall. But I don't think, just with a Big Ten opponent, Michigan State knows IU way too well. Tom Izzo is going to take advantage of a new coach. No matter how good Archie's going to be, I don't think Michigan State ever gets close to us in any game this year. They're just that good. Which is, I know it's weird to say, oh, we could beat the number 1 team, but then we're going to easily lose to Michigan State, a lower level team than Duke. But
yeah,
Michigan State just knows us too well. I don't think it's even going to be. I agree with Matt. I don't think it's going to be very close most of either game. So we're going to move into Monday, the 5th, away against Rutgers at 7 p.m.
Remember how I said Illinois is the second worst? Rutgers is the worst team in the Big Ten by far, and I believe that this is the biggest margin of victory all year for a win. Because we're just finally in Big Ten play, we're clicking on all cylinders. Hopefully we're healthy. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. And away at Rutgers, away game is in quotation marks because Rutgers has no basketball fans. And all the IU fans from New York travel down to watch us play at Rutgers. So it's really like a home court advantage. It's really funny. My friend who goes to Rutgers talks to me about this all the time. So away in quotation marks equals win.
Yeah, so you don't think even just Rutgers hanging on close before Zach McRoberts had to come save us?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Rutgers, I don't have them as far as maybe the very dead last of the program. I think Nebraska is a little worse than them, and Rutgers is getting slightly better each year. Now, that's relative. I do mean very slightly better. But I don't think by any means that means the Hoosiers are going to be even close.
I actually think Nebraska's not that bad this year. But
yeah, we'll see. We'll see. With the NBA, the beginning of the NBA season, beginning of the NFL season, anything is possible, literally.
Yes, seriously.
All right, we got just 5 more games. Friday, February 9th, home against Minnesota at 7:30.
Their defense is going to be too much for us. Our offense is not that good this year. No matter how much the home court advantage counts for, and Minnesota's going to pull this game off. But it'll be close. I think it'll be close. for the loss?
I think it's going to be close, but I think IU's going to pull it off. I think it's going to be one of these. I only had a couple staple wins in Simon Scott Assembly Hall this year, and I think this is going to be one of them. The rest of the games, this is our last. This is the last team that we're playing before the end of the regular season that's better. Obviously, they play Iowa, but they've got some easier Big Ten games at the end. I think they're going to be able to pull it out against Minnesota. I don't know. Might just be a gut feeling. I think they might just be mad that they lost away at Minnesota at the Barn, and they're just going to be some of the students are going to want revenge.
Hey, I hope so.
Yeah, but I have that as a win. We'll move on to Valentine's Day, Wednesday the 14th. Got a home game against Illinois at 8:30 p.m. Bring your date.
My brother's birthday, fun fact, is the 15th, so happy birthday, Greg, if you're listening to this somehow. Anyways.
in February.
In February, yes. But Illinois is a win. Obviously, we won away. I think we should win at home. We should win at home by a lot more than we won away. So, there we go.
Yeah, I think that's self-explanatory as well. Home game against Illinois. I honestly don't even think a lot of Hoosier fans are going to be there just because it's Valentine's Day and it's Illinois and it's the middle of the week. I don't think they have. I think that's a good thing, honestly. I think they have trust in their team that they can just get it done. I think they're going to be able to go into the bench against this Illinois team, basically. Going to go to Saturday, the 17th, away at Iowa at 2 p.m.
I think this is a very close game. I think this could actually put me down on the record. This game goes to overtime, but I think we lose it just because of the home court advantage, and our guys are going to be tired. But, yeah, loss away at Iowa.
You don't think it's going to be like that game where IU was able to pull out the Big Ten championship against Iowa?
I hope so. We're pulling out the Big Ten championship in Iowa, but no, not going to happen.
We don't have Yogi Ferrell to do it there with his clutch shot.
No. That still gives me goosebumps, by the way. Just remembering that. Sitting there and watching that happen was fun.
Oh, you weren't at Assembly Hall? You didn't watch it at Assembly Hall? It was, they had it on the live stream.
Some of us don't have cars, Noah.
I didn't either.
You didn't have a car?
No. That's okay, though. Yeah, I also think Iowa away. Yeah, Iowa's not going to be the best team, but they're not going to be the worst team. They're going to be a decent team. They're going to get some big wins. They're going to get some bad losses. But I agree. I think that home court advantage for Iowa is just a little too much for the Hoosiers. They're coming to the end of the season. They're playing a little, with the Big Ten being moved up a week. The games are a little farther apart since they had to move the schedule up. So I think going away, getting into the semester a little bit, I don't think it's good for the Hoosiers, basically. I think they're going to end up losing, which that's okay. They're going to lose some away games, which that's not too bad. So, last couple games. Tuesday the 20th, we go to Nebraska at 9 p.m.
Win. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, we apparently know where you stand on how good Nebraska is.
They're okay, but they're not good.
I agree. One of the other better games. I could potentially see this as a trap game, and I'm going to put that in air quotes, because I don't think IU's still going to lose, but I could see Nebraska actually making it closer than it needs to be. But I still think regardless, IU's going to either blow it out or still just win. I don't think it's much of a tough advantage. We got a pretty easy schedule coming at the end of the season.
Close games aren't bad. No. A win is a win, but it can't be a close game against Nebraska or the next opponent.
Going into basically the tournament almost.
Yes.
Big Ten tournament, NCAA tournament, all of it. Then senior night. We have senior night for a lot of seniors. If you're going to be in Simon Scott Assembly Hall, you're going to be sitting there for a while after the game, because we got 5 seniors that are going. Something like that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna bring a snack.
Yeah.
And some, I don't know.
But stay after. I know it's even a late game. It's a Friday. That's okay. Still stay, Hoosier fans, when you're going. We want to give people, especially like Colin and Robert, a lot of the IU fans, the Hoosier fans, are going to love and be sad about Priller and everything.
Oh, yeah, you got to stay for Priller, guys. Come
on. But let's see how the last game of the season is going to turn out for you, Matt.
It's Ohio State. We won away. I think we're going to win by 30 on senior night. And I think Tim Priller gets a double-double.
I don't know. I'm not going to go as far. I'm not going to go as far to Tim Priller getting 10 rebounds.
No, 10 points, 10 turnovers.
10 okay, there you go. But he's still going to stay in the game, though.
Yes, because it's senior night. We're already up by 40.
Oh, yeah. I agree, Ohio State. I think they are going to start turning some heads with the end of the season. I think they're going to start to click since they've actually had the time to become a team, basically. But just because they're doing better for themselves doesn't mean I think the Hoosiers are going to lose to them. So I still think it's a pretty relatively easy win for Indiana, which would be really nice. So let's look at these last records. So we're going to go, this is on the air. These are live. We're both going to hold to these records for the whole season, no matter how good or how bad both of our records go. We could have like completely opposite wins and losses, and that would be interesting. We're going to hold to these records. So Matt is going on record saying 19-11 as his overall record with 10-8 in the Big Ten. I'm really close to him, and like I said, guys, we did not compare notes at all. We waited to look at each other's notes until literally right before we started recording this show. But I was 20-10, so just a win better. I had 2 wins better than Matt in Big Ten play, which will be interesting. But 20-10 overall, and then 11-7 with the Big Ten play, which when you look at 10-8, 11-7, that's 4th, 5th in the Big Ten. That was what it was last year. Michigan won with got 4th in 11-7.
Yeah, but I feel like a 10-8 would put us in 6th. But I still think there's going to be 6 tournament teams from the Big Ten.
Oh yeah,
it really all comes down to if my prediction comes to fruition. It will all come down to, do we make it to the 3rd day of Big Ten tournament?
I agree.
If we make it to the 3rd day of the Big Ten tournament, we're probably in the tournament. The NCAA tournament. Last 4 in.
Which we'll actually have to see how I think Archie might be able to change around our Big Ten tournament woes, because obviously IU does place terribly in the Big Ten tournament.
Because Archie actually knows how to change stuff in game.
But those are also very close games, so you got to also change things.
Obviously,
with back-to-back days playing it, basically.
Exactly. You know, spend a week.
I think I could see the Hoosiers losing early again, and not nothing to their fault, more or less. But I do think if they end up getting close to the 3rd day or not, or if they just have some big wins like against Duke, or maybe one against Michigan State, or even just some of the top of the Big Ten, I think they're still going to be able to get to the NCAA tournament. I do think they're going to be a bubble team, close, and bubble team could still mean 8-10 inside the bubble, 8-10 outside of it, so that's a pretty wide range, but I do think they're going to be around there. I think that's the expectation. I think everyone's going to be pleased if IU actually does get into the tournament. I don't think people are going to be too disappointed if they're just outside of it. Obviously, it's going to be heartbreaking if you always just miss the tournament. But I don't think, obviously, I think Hoosier fans, deep down, as much as they want IU to just run the tables this year, I think deep down everyone really is tempering their expectations. And I think the Hoosiers missing the tournament is not necessarily a bad thing. I think we'll have to reevaluate things if we start having a negative record, or we start getting around 20 losses or something like that. I think that's when we'll have to start just thinking a little differently about this team.
Yeah. Yeah. I would echo that statement. Tim Priller's our backup center. That's all I'm gonna say, guys.
Well,
on that subject.
I mean, like, tall-wise, Freddie's probably at least right now, Yeah, he's going with Freddie as the backup.
Yeah.
But that's about it, guys. Yeah, that's wraps it up for our special segment of the Hoosier Sound. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and please feel free to add suggestions in the comment section or contact us through our website. If there's any topic like this, we like to do some of these like semi-off topic things that just talk maybe a little differently than basically just updating how games are going. Just give us a call or give us a message, and who knows, maybe it's good enough we'll let you join us or something like that. Maybe it's a little incentive. But a reminder to follow us on Twitter at the Hoosier Sound, like our Facebook page, as well as subscribe to us on YouTube. Subscribe on either Apple Podcasts, Google Play, iHeartRadio, or Stitcher, and leave us a review. Like we say, leaving us a review, it really, really goes a long way. If you can take the time to take 20 seconds to go onto iTunes and give us a review, it really does mean a lot to us. It starts to build our podcast. The more reviews we have, the more it pops up on iTunes, and the more we can start spreading that connection that we can with our listeners, guys. And it really means a lot to us if you guys do have the time. And all of the links will be in the description below, so it's easy access. Lastly, visit our website at thehoosiersound.wordpress.com to find all the information regarding our podcasts, and stay tuned for updates through social media. As always, thank you for listening, Hoosier Nation, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.